I tried to remember where we left off on the last episode.
What was the title of our last episode?
Navigating through relationships.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. Well, I'm still navigating.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that episode like felt like we'd covered a lot of ground, but also felt like it was impossible to cover all the angles because there's just so much nuance in every relationship that like we did a good job, but it's an ongoing conversation.
It's just crazy when you think you're being guided one way and how it's just like it just jumps up and bites you and it's like, again, I mean this is the theme I think for me, ending off this year. It's like, oh, in the whole year, it's like I think I'm going one way and then nope, takes me another way and now there's possibly a new way approaching and I'm still trying to decide, where I want to live and
Yeah.
what I want to do and I mean it's just continual and I'm just actually kind of sick of it, you know?
Mhm. And at the helm of it is you or whomever's life it is, you know, like you are the one. It doesn't always feel like you're in the driver's seat, but technically you are, and technically I am in my life. And yet you're right. There's these times when it feels like you're pulled and then you go there and then you feel like you have to go back or I wonder if this is why sometimes like this is why people lean on things like religion or something like stable like that where someone outside of themselves is like telling them no, this is what you need to do because they just don't know themselves.
Yeah, but it's still you still have to believe in that. You
Exactly.
have to believe in a higher power, or like we do, and me in particular, believe in the universe. But I want to just comment to what you say. Yes, we do have the power, and you know, our our mood, our attitude, or what we do is solely controlled by us.
Mhm.
However, it's so influenced by the people and the situations around us.
Totally.
And you know, if we can just keep bringing it back to ourselves and what is it that we want and what is good for us, but that's just so hard when you continue, to get influenced. And I last night and today it's like I have these in my calendar, like, and it reoccurs every single day, right? It's just notes that I have. And, one is trust and have faith in the universe. So
Mhm.
we said that so many times, but God, when it just sends you stuff that sometimes can be so painful and confusing, it's hard to do that. Another one is, which is, what was his name? The guy that we've followed for quite a while, Joe Dispenza.
So,
Where your energy goes, your energy flows. Where, no, sorry, where your attention goes, your energy flows.
yeah.
So if your attention goes to, why is this happening and why is this causing me pain and why do, then you're going to feel that because that's where you put your energy.
Yeah.
Um, the other one is you become an unstoppable force when you realize that you can do it alone. But again, for me lately, the universe has been bringing people into my life, and it's like, wow, I really like this having somebody there. But
Hmm.
then when it doesn't work out, it's like, okay, I'm alone again. And then just bear with me. The last one is, what does the universe, my soul, want to tell me today?
Hmm.
And again, not knowing what we were going to talk about, I want to just comment further on that one.
Hmm.
I went to my mother, um, who, regular people of the show know, my mom is 97. I took her iPad into Apple today. And I was sitting at the table there, and there was a woman sitting across from me. And I was mentioning to the person who was helping me that this is my mother's iPad and she's 97 and blah, blah, blah. And then after, when the woman beside me, she had to go away for a minute, the woman across me said, I'm sorry, but I couldn't help overhearing. And we just had this amazing conversation that is going to make me emotional because she lost her mother 2 years ago and she was 103.
Wow.
Her father's mother just died. She was 99. And we just had this most amazing connection, really connected. She gave me her phone number afterwards. And she was just so reassuring to me and comforting and just saying, what a good son I am and all of that. And so my point of this is the universe sent me this person who just made me feel really good because I've been struggling and it's been really tough the last few days, as you know, because you're my best friend and we obviously talk when we're not on here. And
Yeah.
this was not by accident. I mean, I could have gone there 10 minutes, half an hour later, sat in a different spot, but it just happened to be in that spot. She just happened to sit across from me. And we just and she started talking to me. And this is what and I keep talking about this damn chair thing that I want to do. It keeps coming up. It came up again yesterday. But this is what it's about. It's about people connecting and people sharing. And it's such a beautiful thing.
I think those moments, like we often think we're going to find that somewhere else. We're looking in other places for that sort of thing, and it often arrives unexpectedly. Like it gave you a sense of being seen, being heard, and being loved, all things that we think only really comes from one place, or we only can get that kind of thing from one type of person. Even, we look for it very much so in a romantic relationship.
Yeah.
And to know that it can feel just as meaningful, it's different, but it's still just as meaningful, because it catches you off guard. Like, you really had to be in that moment to experience that, and you were destined to be right there, because no part of your decision making to get you to that spot was for any other reason than to take care of this iPad for your mother.
Hmm.
Such pure intention. So when we follow those, like, pure, not pure because there's impure, but, like, do you know what I mean? Like, something that's just so, like, you were doing this for your mom. I often think that's when other things find you that you're actually seeking.
The point is doing something good for someone.
Yeah, you were following that impulse.
Yeah. And I think that is one of the lessons here is when you do something for someone and something pure and something that comes from your heart, or I mean, it can be anything. It can be just saying hello to somebody on the street. It can be, helping somebody with their groceries or whatever it is. But this was a specific act that I was doing in the midst of feeling so down and abandoned and just wanting to be loved and seen and acknowledged or
Yeah.
whatever. And that's what I haven't been getting. And it's been really, again, when you think something is going a certain way or a person is a certain way and then all of a sudden it's not there, it's tough. And
And this reassures that, like, there are those people out there that can offer that kind of love, that, like, this is from a stranger even, like, and it just shows you, like, that's what you do to some people when you like, you are her sometimes,
yeah.
and this time you got to be the one that was given that little
Yeah.
little nugget, that little gift. And she didn't know how much it means to you.
Right.
She probably has a sense that it was nice,
But
but
no, there was such a connection. And, she got up after and she said, "Can I give you a hug?" And I said, "Of course." And she's the one I could see her towards because I was finishing up and I could see her. She took out something and she was writing. And I said, "Are you doing what I think you're doing?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm giving you my phone number." She said, "I hope that's okay." And it's not the same as a romantic relationship. And for those of you and us and me who, you know, struggle with romantic relationships and who, you know, when you get a taste of it, it's really nice. And when that's taken away from you, I mean, it's sometimes I think I would just rather not meet anybody, not go there. Because when it doesn't work out, it takes a while to get back to that place where, yeah, I really can do things on my own, you know?
Yeah. It's like you have to recalibrate back to that way of living very independently. And because you have, it's about like, at the beginning you're sensing out if you can even trust this person enough to let them in and sort of let it change you. It changes both people. But yeah, when it doesn't work out, then you have to find your way back to that like just Eddie energy or just an energy.
Yeah, it's true. And I want to take from that, like the thing that I discovered um, through this is like how much I enjoyed um, the humor and making somebody laugh. And I mean, I am a joker and a clown at heart, and I'm a kid at heart, and I am most myself and happy when I'm like that. And that doesn't come out very often, and it did, and it was like, wow, I love this. And I think that's what, is hurting because it's hurting, but I also realize, when you're in something that
Yeah.
doesn't work, you discover, especially when you haven't had it, you discover what it is that you really want and what you really need. And I think that a lot of people settle.
Yeah.
We talked last week about the, sort of the 10 top things that you look for in a relationship. And how I said, if you get eight, you take it and run. But I think there's a lot of people who settle for five and sometimes even less. And I don't think we should have to do that. But some people just can't be alone,
Yeah.
you know?
So it's easier to compromise and just deal with whatever comes with that five. And that
But
I think require like the way through that, in my opinion, is we've talked about this before many times too, is doing the work on yourself. Like you have to get to know yourself in order to know who you want to be in relationships and just with yourself. And I think we've touched on this a couple times already too. Like, and I know it's 2024, everybody knows therapy exists, but I don't think everybody necessarily realizes they could benefit from therapy in some way or some form of healing old wounds that haven't been you weren't allowed to cry about, or just
yeah,
having someone having deep friendships is one thing I think, and then I think having someone else to like sift through carefully, because somebody who's trained in this has a different sensibility. They're going to ask different questions, they're going to respond different because they don't know your whole backstory. They might prompt you differently. um I was just talking to my sister last night about this, and she said without the therapy that she's done in the last 2 years, she would not be where she is right now. And she's been able to do that because she has been doing therapy and different kinds of therapy. There's not just one, there's like tons of kinds of therapy. You sort of have to, and she sort of had to go on a journey of finding which one works for her.
I think one of the keys to that, um, first of all, when you go to therapy, you have to do the work.
Yes.
That's one thing. The other thing is, um, I refer a lot of things to um, a habit or breaking a habit or wanting something. You have to really want it.
Yeah.
You can't, like, I refer to quitting smoking. You say, well, I really should quit smoking. You'll never quit. You have to say, I want to quit smoking, not I need to, not I should, but I want to. So I think you have to get to the place where you can say I need therapy or I should go to therapy. No, you have to really want it. What do you think the reasons are why people resist going to therapy?
I think to your point, you have to want to do it, and you have to want to not change something because something's wrong, but like notice some patterns in your life that you realize I don't actually want to live like this. I think that's really what Rochelle noticed about herself. She's like, I don't want these things to keep getting in the way of my relationship with my family or my friends or my body. Like, and so she just got fed up with those patterns that just kept happening. And I think eventually you have to tip over the edge and just go for it. I too have been feeling like it's time. It might be the right time to start thinking about having a therapist. I don't know if there's a particular thing I need to bring to this therapist. It's in like I want to change something, but I'm just sensing that it could be a safe place to just work through whatever comes up. It
Yeah.
doesn't need to be specific. I feel like sometimes I feel a little lost, and I feel like that might be a place to have some grounding. Um, but I also think that you can just try it, and if you don't like it, you can just stop. Like
True, but I think I think there's a lot of fear involved with people. Of people don't want to go there. They don't want to discover why they are a certain way.
yeah,
Um, because then they have to deal with it.
absolutely.
And you
Yes.
know, I listen,
That's
I
tough.
pardon?
So that's tough because that's
Yeah,
real.
yeah.
That's
And
something, and that's why a lot of people don't want to go there because you
right,
don't want to find out.
because people get a certain way because of their childhood, because of relationships that they've had, throughout their years.
Yeah.
And some people would rather just, "No, that's the way I am, basically take it or leave it." Well, okay,
If
you
you
know,
want to live that way, then yeah. But if you want to know a little more about yourself, that the scary part of that is that you might find things you don't necessarily love, or you've been made to believe are not things you should love, and you actually do like.
part of it is really learning to honor and respect yourself, not settling,
Yeah.
no, this is not working for me. I want someone who's gonna, you know, show me affection. But there's a lot of people who don't and who can't. And so then you have to ask yourself, well, can I be with someone like that? And that's, something you have to decide. Maybe what else you're getting. We're back to the 10 things. I mean, could I do without affection? Boy, that's a tough one. I don't think so. I think I
Now
would have
you
to,
know, but
pardon?
now you really know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what's important about these experiences that we have. Like to your point at the beginning, sometimes I wish I didn't even go there because the pain after hurts so much. And that's valid because it is painful. And yet it also taught you like something really important about what you actually want. And so you're much more attuned to that for
Yeah.
when the next person arrives that is an opportunity
Yeah.
um, to explore a new relationship. And I just think that's why I think therapy is a great place to just sift through all of these feelings that I think most of the time we like don't even fully let ourselves feel all of these feelings because I shouldn't care that much, or I don't want to let it affect me that much. And yet it's okay if it hurts that much or if it hits you that hard. To like diminish it almost devalues your feelings to yourself, which I just think is like, why are we doing that to ourselves? Like, they're your feelings. It doesn't own you, but if you hold it in, I feel like it somehow does, because you don't let it be expressed. Like, emotion is energy in motion. We have to
Yeah.
let it go.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, I would like to end this, for me, and then, if you want to say something, but I think that it's important to remember um, whether it's painful or joyful or, I don't know what else there is. It's either painful or
I
joyful.
think in between.
You know, these people, these situations come into our life for a reason. Always. There's always something to learn. And it could be good, it could be bad, but you learn and you try as much as possible to move on. And if you can't move on, or if these things keep happening, you don't know how to deal with it, then yes, yeah, there's the option is therapy, as we've talked a lot about. So that's what I think. I mean, it's hard when you're going through it and when your stomach is in knots and you can't sleep and but time heals. And, you know, every day it gets just a little bit better. And then it's gone, But what's always there is what did I learn from this? And some people don't learn and they keep repeating the same thing over and over again until they do learn. And so that's what I'd like to say about this. That's how I'd like to end this.
I think that's a beautiful ending. I think that's all we can really do in the end, is let ourselves. I think how I'll add to that by saying, if you can, because we're not often encouraged to do this, I don't think, but there's more and more energy towards this idea that, could you be a little more could you give yourself a little more grace while you go through
Hmm.
all of these things, that like the pain of stomach and knots and not hearing back from someone, or something ending, or a death, or there's some sort of grief that's happening while you're going through those things, trying to be compassionate with yourself while you feel them, which doesn't necessarily make it easier. It's just, you don't have to feel bad or shame or some sort of like, I should, this, I'm being too much. No, let yourself go there for yourself, not for anyone else. You're not going there because someone will think it's too much, but it's not about them. It's about you. It's about what you're experiencing, or what I'm experiencing. And if we, my sister calls it like outing, like it's a strange way to use this word that we've, in the gay community, it's like you out yourself. But the idea of outing yourself in a way that like expresses the truth of how you actually feel. And then you can actually, I feel like that's when you can actually move on. It doesn't mean it's gone, because to your point, the end of that is that when you remember it, you remember what you learned. It doesn't necessarily have to be a memory that triggers old, oh, I didn't do that thing, or I didn't, because you actually let yourself feel all the feelings, let them pass through you. And then when you remember those things, you go, and look what it brought me.
And sometimes we forget. We
Yeah.
sometimes we forget what we learned, and sometimes we forget when we don't sort of honor what we want. And then we go through it again. Somebody else will come in that will remind us of that.
Yeah.
And you know, it's not, I want to say too, it's not their fault. I mean, you want to blame that other person, but they have their own stuff they're dealing with, and
Mhm.
they have their own lessons that they have to learn. And whether they learn it or not is none of our business. You know, what's our business is what do we learn?
This is life. It's just truly like, you go from one moment feeling a certain way and then something shifts that and you don't even know exactly what it's going to be, but I just feel like half the time we're just trying to keep up with that.
And you know what? It feels amazing to feel amazing, and it feels shitty to feel shitty, you know? And
Yeah,
that's life.
that's life. And honestly, accepting that is the experience and there's no avoiding that.
Yeah.
I think is part of accepting that you actually are in control, like of your own experience. That even though the emotion feels like something that's being taken over you, it's the emotion is for that moment to be felt in the moment. I feel this way, but half the time you don't let yourself feel that way, or you think you should
Yeah.
a small version of it. Let it
And
go.
and that takes us back to the beginning.
Yes.
We are in control. Situations, people come into our life that influence that, but at the end of the day, remember that you are in control.
Of your own life.
Yeah. See you next time.
Peace.
Love you.
Love you. Wow.
Wow.
Didn't know that was gonna happen.